Former Sweet Baby Inc. client Square Enix reports losses. Stock plummets. I wonder why. Here's the thing is they've been trying to appease to the Western market and even working with Sweet Baby Inc. For, if you don't know who Sweet Baby Inc. is, I've made videos about it. This is, a lot of y'all probably already know. They are a consulting company who consults with video games to insert their woke, demonic, stupid, retarded ideology and to ruin games. That's what they do. And so Square Enix has worked with them. And yeah, look what's happened. Square Enix, though, in general, even before working with Sweet Baby Inc., have made an attempt to try to reach the Western market more. And I think that's really been one of their downfalls. I mean, they had to... They sold a lot of their Western IPs, right, in the studios alongside them with Crystal Dynamics, the Tomb Raider IP, for example. That is a franchise like they were really trying to dive into the Western market with these IPs, and that ultimately didn't work for them. Even with the reboot Tomb Raider game, the very first one, that sold really well, all things considered. The numbers were really good, but it still didn't meet target for Square Enix because, I mean, they put a bunch of budget into it. So, and then of course the games after, ultimately the trilogy broke even, right? So it didn't even bring in a profit. You can't have that. I mean, dude, that's not good. So honestly, and I might get backlash for this too, but I think that the Final Fantasy VII remake, I didn't play the sequel, but I played the first Final Fantasy VII remake for a reasonable amount of hours, like a good amount of hours. I just feel like it's overrated. I could not enjoy it. It had everything I didn't like about, maybe not everything because the characters weren't grotesque, but it did have a lot of things I didn't like about current Western AAA games. And that is that everything is too focused on the story more so than the actual gameplay. Now, I know Final Fantasy games tend to have a very heavy story focus, and I'm good with that. Like, I really, really love the older turn-based Final Fantasy games are so much better, in my opinion. So I would much rather play the original than play the remake, because obviously while it looks pretty visually, it's very pretty. I got so sick and tired of just, okay, here's a segment where I'm doing literally nothing but walking slow so I can listen to Cloud and Aerith talk to each other and banter. Like, I'm over it. I am so sick of that. I want to just play the game. And like, I get it. There's some scenes where you want to watch a pretty cutscene, but dude, make me feel like I earned it too. That's one thing. I don't want to be bombarded with cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. Oh, here, let me walk up to the apartment. Boom, cutscene. Oh, here, let me go talk to Tifa for a second. Cutscene. Here, let me go do this. And it's just over and over and over and over and over. And I felt like the combat just wasn't good enough to really justify the bombardment of cutscenes. I would much rather play the original than play this. I like more of a turn-based style. And I know, oh, but there's an option that's like that. Dude, that was a baby down mode. That was not the same thing. So you know, when I'm going to play a Final Fantasy game, I mean, there still are some of like the action RPG that can work. Final Fantasy 15, I did like that. Obviously, it was discombobulated. You could tell it was in developmental hell. So it did definitely seem like 3 or 4 different games in one almost. But I still think overall that was a pretty good game. And it still had some good cinematic cutscenes. But it didn't just... Unless I'm remembering wrong, it did not bombard you nearly as much as Final Fantasy VII Remake did. And there weren't moments where it's like, I literally can't progress in the game right now because I'm in in-game mode, not even in a cutscene, but my character can only slow walk in this moment, can't walk at normal pace because I have to listen to them banter right now. That also is a thing. Whenever you can't play a game without constant dialogue happening all the time. I mean, and I'm an introvert, so this also works on my nerves. Sometimes I need the game to just shut up. I need the people in the game to just shut up so I can look at what's going on around me and take in everything around me and the scenery and the environment and appreciate the art. Sometimes I just need them to stop. That was like with Far Cry 6, for example. That was by Ubisoft, not even Square Enix, but I could not continue that game because the characters were on the walkie-talkie talking constantly. I'm just like, please shut up. I want to enjoy this scenery and I can't because the characters won't shut up. All right, anyway. So, they've reported that despite having, a good 6-month period where things were looking better, they did ultimately, notably found itself 27% down in Q3 of 2024. So they're definitely like suffering, taking a $350 million hit. That's huge. And just put that into perspective, they sold the Tomb Raider IP. They sold, I think it was even more than just Tomb Raider. They sold freaking Square Enix, or they sold Crystal Dynamics, and I believe all of the IPs that are associated with them for that $300 million price tag. So that's what they've lost here, was the price of Tomb Raider. You could buy Tomb Raider for what they lost. You could buy Tomb Raider, the IP Tomb Raider. Okay. So, premium game sales are also down this year, which could have pushed investors to sell. So, try not to... Excuse me. Okay. See, I'm allergic to this. I'm about to read about Sweet Baby Inc. and I start sneezing. I'm allergic to it. Okay. So, Square started November with a valuation of $4.68 billion. This number was based on the company's outstanding shares and the Square Enix stock price. However, it has since lost up to $350 million in value. So, they were a notable client of Kim Bellair's Sweet Baby Inc. This narrative design company contracts with gaming studios to consult on story elements. Yes, oftentimes what this company does is say, hey, your female characters look a bit too much like women. They look too female. Let's make them look more like men in dresses. Let's make them uglier. Let's push this Troon ideology everywhere. That's what they try to do. While there is no definitive list of Sweet Baby Inc.'s influence on Square, many point to censorship actions taken by the company in recent years, like restricting the size of Tifa's chest in Final Fantasy VII as proof of the narrative's firm's involvement. I'm going to be honest here. I think that some of that is overblown. I think that Tifa's proportions in Final Fantasy VII Remake are very similar to what they were in the original Final Fantasy VII. I don't see this giant nerf that they're talking about in changing her proportions. I mean, I have issues with Final Fantasy VII Remake, but Tifa's proportions aren't it. Like, I don't see what people are talking about. I mean, look at this mod. This is the Sweet Baby Inc. version. But no, like, look, you're literally, if you look at like the original here also, which is a very cartoony art style, and then you look at the remake here, I mean, to me, this very much looks in line. She's definitely endowed. I don't see this nerf that they're speaking of. She's definitely retained her curves. So that's one thing I don't get. Now, they did add the black undershirt. I don't know if it's an undershirt or a sports bra. I don't know. They did add that, but I don't know. I personally think of all the issues in Final Fantasy VII, that's not one of them, but hey. Maybe people disagree. All right. So Sweet Baby Inc. wasn't the only narrative design firm Square worked with. It also contracted Black Girl Gamers. That's right. I forgot about that. To work on Noted Flop Forspoken. And that's what sucks. When they first announced Forspoken, I was so stoked. Like, we just got this little cinematic teaser for it. You can see the main character from here down, her face. And I was like, oh, this could look good. It had some very like Final Fantasy 15-esque look to it. And honestly, even the model that they use for Forspoken, Ella Banks, is that her name? I think. Hold on, let me make sure I'm getting this right. Ella Banks. Wait, no. Who is that? I don't know. Who is the model for Forspoken? Oh, Ella Balinska. Okay, not Banks, Balinska. She's a very pretty model. She was in that, she was in that Charlie's Angels reboot, and obviously she's making a funny face there, but she's really pretty. And she was in the Charlie's Angels thing, and I followed her on Instagram after that, even though I had no interest in watching Charlie's Angels reboot. I just thought she was really pretty, and I wanted to follow her on Instagram, and I did then, which I can't remember if I ended up unfollowing her later because of some woke stuff or whatever, because my tolerance for woke stuff is very limited. But anyway, yeah, they really dropped the ball on that, because they could have still used her. And what I think, and what ultimately kept me from playing the game, is when they showed more trailers and that I don't know, that those Tumblr writers, the dialogue, the constant talk about never shutting up. Who is she talking to? Some sort of AI or robot? I can't remember now. But I was like, I can't do it. I will off myself if I play this game. It'll just work on my nerves that much. Like, I couldn't. There's no way. So I was like, I can't even play this. So that's where I tuned out. And it just looked like it was trying to be I thought, by the original teaser, it looked like it was going to be more stylized and more like Final Fantasy-esque. But that's definitely not the direction they went with it. I mean, here's my take when it comes to Square Enix. And when I think of Square Enix and the Square Enix I loved, it was like the Kingdom Hearts Square Enix, which also I was disappointed with Kingdom Hearts 3. I feel like everything they've done in recent years almost has definitely disappointed. But when I think of things that I love from Square Enix, it's like Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Fantasy 10, even Final Fantasy 10 2, I loved it. Go with basically, and I'm a huge fan of the turn-based RPG elements. I like it whenever you can implement actual strategy. If I think of Final Fantasy, the IP, Final Fantasy, I want to strategize. I want to actually think about what I'm doing and not just hit the action button. Dude, I tuned out so hard with Final Fantasy 13 because it was like, dude, I'm just pushing X. Over and over, I'm just pushing X. I want to sit there and think, what should I do here? Maybe if I have Auron do this, and then I have Riku steal, and then I have, I like to actually plan and strategize. That's why I like turn-based. But anyway, I mean, they don't even have to do turn-based. But focus on what Square Enix needs to stop trying to pander to the Western market, because the Western market, if you are looking at what Western studios are doing, Western market doesn't even like it. Right now, a lot of us in the Western market we like what Japan was doing great, right? That's what we like. So do that. Go back to that. Focus on what made gaming great before. Don't focus on this current day crap, because we ain't about it. So anyway, there you have it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And as always, if you want to watch me read the Bible to you on my Bible channel, you can catch me at Bible Time with Melanie Mack. Thank you all again. I'll catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.